Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Marvel Talk. We're here once again. The WGA strike is over. The actors' strike is hopefully ending soon. Should we find out that things are not progressing as well in the actors' strike, we will readdress how many episodes we are going to do. But for now, things are promising. The writers have gotten a deal, which means the actors have a framework to work with, which means that the producers are willing to make some concessions. So hopefully, we should have a deal within a few weeks, maybe a month. But until then, as long as things are progressing in the right direction, Marvel Talk is back. And I am joined by my one and only, Andre C. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing absolutely phenomenal, sir. I'm glad to be back. Glad to be talking some Loki on the day after the debut of this show. So
now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the non-spoiler section here. And I have a question for you. We know that, I know at least, you were not a fan of the original season. You weren't as big a fan as everybody else seems to have been about season 1 of Loki.
I was up and down on the series, on the season as a whole. There were some great episodes, but then there was, to me, some like the train episode. And I love episodes where everything's in a box. The train episode just I thought it was terrible. The finale of it was I think the last few episodes of the series were absolutely tremendous. I liked them just sitting there and having that conversation with Kang. or He Who Remains, whatever you want to call him in there. But there's a couple episodes where I was just like, this is just boring. Like the first episode for sure, second episode was better, third episode sucked. But this season, I'm already off to a great start, enjoying the first episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one too. I thought like they took where they were last season, and it literally picks up moments later.
Mm-hmm.
And we've reframed everything that we thought we knew about it. In the first 10 minutes, this episode reframes you
Mm-hmm.
into the world you need to be in to see the rest of these episodes.
100%.
Which I think was really, really great. I thought that was fantastic. Not going into spoilers, my favorite character of this entire episode is Ourobous. The title of the show is Ourobous, and I thought he played a fantastic role in this episode.
Yeah, Kei Kwan has had a lot of great stuff coming up for him lately. We did Everything Everywhere All at Once. Then with American Born Chinese, I know he's on that show. Lots of great stuff coming from him, and I'm happy they got him into this because he was just so weirdly charming and just lovable in this, while not like stealing scenes, but not like overpowering every other person that he was working with.
He reminds me a lot of Casey from last season. He's great. He does exactly what he needs to do, but he's so charming and delightful that you want to see him on screen more because every time he's on screen, he makes you smile.
Yeah,
He says something funny. He says something great, just like Casey was last year. My juice box. When he's doing the whole thing on that with that episode. Yeah. What is this? It's a Tesseract. It's the most powerful thing in the world. Looks stupid. Just little scenes from Casey last season were so fun.
Or when he pulled the drawer, you see hundreds and hundreds of the stones. Yeah.
And he calls them paper. We use them as paperweights, and Loki's like, everything I know is a lie.
Yeah, and again, he appeared in this episode. Funny little scene where there's a funny little scene with him in this. We'll probably get to it, but again, but Ourobous was that character in this one.
Yeah,
but I thought Hiddleston hit it out of the park on his return. So and then same with
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. I want to say Owen Taylor for some reason. My brain just short circuited. I thought they both took their characters and just made you fall back in love with them.
They were the same but different. The characters we knew were the same but different. There was something different about the characters we already knew, and it's great for storytelling because we don't feel like they're just rehashing what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So many shows like this could have fallen into the trap of the first half of this episode being like monotonous replay of everything we already know, and they're like, no, we are the MCU. We expect you to do the homework. Everybody's homework going into Loki season 2, episode 1 is have watched all of the episodes in season 1.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to sit here and explain things to you. We're going to have the head of the timekeeper on that table in the judges scene. We're going to go ahead and have B-15 and Mobius in the exact same place that they were, talking about the exact same thing, chasing down Loki because they don't know who he is.
Yeah, again, and it's just made for weird comparisons. I'm like, what the is going on? How are we gonna get to these? How? Yeah, OB is so good, but how do you get to the relationships again? Is what you're wondering. Coming off of last season's, because they created especially Loki and Morbius had such an awesome bond by the end of that season that you wonder how do you get to it, and they do figure their way into this really well.
Yeah, and with that, we're going to go ahead and drop the non-spoiler section, and we're going to go into full spoilers. Spoilers ahoy! We're going to talk about the episode, not scene by scene, but we're going to talk about our favorite parts. If we have some pictures, we're going to throw some of those up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go ahead and start, if you don't mind, with Kang's timeline crumbling.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was fantastic. I love the idea that Loki's running from everybody because they don't know who he is, so they're trying to prune him. And he's
Mhm.
like, well, nope, can't let that happen again. Been there, done that. So he goes ahead and jumps off the thing into a mail truck. And the lady
So
is so confused that she ends up crashing into the Kang statue and cutting his face. Remember, every Kang has a scar.
hmm,
And I think it's interesting that this Kang got its scar in this
yeah.
episode like that.
Yeah, and again, it's just these little things that you just like they see, and like him like just, they redo the like they have no idea who the hell. Hi, Mel, my other tag team partner.
Hi, Mel.
But like them going through and and like doing like how like he's trying to convince him. Then they get like they because of the clothes he's wearing, they think or they realize who it's Loki. He must be a variant. Why is he alive? And like having this, and then have them run and just like off the side of that balcony was just perfection.
What I think is interesting, and it's something that we're going to hopefully go into in further episodes. So we know that Loki is in a past version of the TVA. Every time people don't know who Loki is, it's either the past or the future
Mhm.
of the TVA. They're talking about 63 branches in the timeline. At what point does this take place? At what point in the past is this taking place? I'm dying to see what Marvel comes up with for that because
And
they've explained to us that this is the past. So when is it?
yeah, and then you remember, and then he's jumping back to what is considered their present, even though they do say time doesn't exist in the same structure here. Loki is proving it doesn't. There is a timeline within just the TVA. But again, it's just trying to figure out like and where and like as we get to it, there's like, well, where we're gonna have to deal with that problem going forward. We're gonna find out because I know they did some stuff in this episode to get maybe past this whole teleportation through time issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing we had in these opening few seconds, we had Loki running from Owen Wilson. We talked about how he jumped off the ledge. This picture speaks to me, and I know it's a little blurry. I apologize. My grabbing of things off the internet is not the greatest. This is Loki directly in front of that Kang statue that we saw earlier. That's going to in a moment going to get his cheek cut.
Mm-hmm.
Is this telling of potentially Loki running the TVA? He's in front of Kang. He's front and center in front of the man who's running this version of the TVA.
It is possible. Again, I look forward to the story they're gonna tell, and I don't even think we're gonna know the answer by the end of the season. Again, it's always they're all again. This is probably one of their hottest show properties on Disney Plus
Yeah.
because of who's involved, the popularity of the character of Loki, what he's become in the MCU. I wouldn't answer that question just by the end of the season. I would have them answer a couple of questions and do some stuff, but like I wouldn't put him in that position until after season 3, if not season 4. Because again, I'd love it for him to eventually be that, like eventually take his seat at the head of the table.
Yeah. It's another question for another day, but I like how they're giving you these little teases in episode 1 of a 6-episode series. Remember, we've got Kang Dynasty coming up.
Mm-hmm.
It's still on the cards. It's still in production. It's going to be in production at some point in the near future. We are going to see Jonathan Majors, whether right or wrong. We will be seeing Jonathan Majors in more than half. We've been told more than half the episodes are going to feature Jonathan Majors in his role as Victor Timely.
Yeah, so again, that's coming. So that again, we're already one down. So that means there's 3 out of the next 5 episodes are going to feature
At least 3.
majors. That's what I'm saying.
Could
I'm
be
saying
4 out of 5. Could be 4 out of
be.
5 at this point.
It could
We
be
then,
again. Yeah.
oh,
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we then get to Loki in that that mail truck crashing, into this past version of TVA,
Almost hitting Eugene.
almost hitting Eugene Cordero, our lovely friend Casey. And then this little TV drops and makes a crack in the floor. And this was the greatness of this episode, because instead of going into a 10-minute explanation as to what's going on, Marvel and Disney found this fantastic cheat where all of a sudden that happens. He has a small conversation with this Eugene Cordero.
But yeah, with Casey, he has like with Casey here, yeah.
Yeah, with Casey. However, Casey doesn't have the stain on his pocket. In season 1, Casey continuously had a bigger and bigger stain in his pocket from his pens. As the season goes on, you can see the spot stain getting bigger and bigger. There's no stain in this portion, so it tells us we're in the past. He then cuts to the future by time slipping, which, by the way, looks
so cool.
Awful.
I loved it. I love how his body.
It looks great. It looks great visually. I'd hate to be Loki and be going through.
Oh, dude, that I was gonna say the graphics on that were actually.
It looks fantastic, but it also looks incredibly painful.
Oh god, because his body's being ripped into like pieces as he's. Yeah, it was so cool to see the transportation there.
And then he's in the current where the story left off, where things were progressing to in the first season of Loki. And he sees Eugene, and Casey's like, Loki! He's like, you know me. And he's so excited that somebody knows him. He doesn't care who it is. And he looks at Casey, and he looks at the floor, and he's like, how long has that crack been there? And Casey looks at him and goes, it's been there as far as it's been as far as I've ever known. He doesn't know a time where that crack wasn't there. Which to me, boom, we've fully explained everything that Loki's going through. He's going from past to present. No explanations needed. The crack's been there forever. Loki puts 2 and 2 together, and Disney hopes that the audience does too.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was a simple concept to pick up. It really was.
But so many shows would have dropped the ball and just beat us over the head with explanations and timing. I love Doctor Who, but the timey-wimey bullshit can sometimes get a little monotonous and a little bit they explain a lot more than they need to. And I love how in this one they just went for it. And it was like, okay, it's over, it's done. Astrid coming in, it does look painful. So painful. So painful. Allie, I love Doctor Who. I'm not picking on Doctor Who, but there were some of those episodes where they went deep in the weeds on trying to explain stuff that they could have just let go.
Yeah. Again, it's all about. Yeah, I liked the fact that they didn't go super in depth with the explanations here.
Yep.
And I love you some Doctor Who too, but again, I can sit there and go, shut the fuck up and just it's time travel. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. All Doctor Who fans love it. All Doctor Who fans understand that there are problems with their show, but damn you, it's our show and we love it to death.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we now meet this season's douchebag of the year when we get back to Mobius and B-15, and we meet Hunter X5.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy was a douchebag.
He was. He very much was.
In this scene, for the first portion that we meet him, he's ragging on Mobius about Mobius's love of jet skis, because he picks up Mobius's thing and he goes, jet ski? Sea-Doo? Come on, Mobius. Are these calling your name? And Mobius is like, well, they're not really calling, but they're absolutely like gently whispering. Mobius, come ride us. Mobius. Yeah. I love it. Owen Wilson is so good. And this is why you get Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
And we all thought they were a little crazy when they told us Owen Wilson was going to be in the MCU. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, are they making that mistake where they just get a big name actor just for the hell of it? But nope, he fits right in. As we said earlier, him and Tom have perfect chemistry, and I couldn't imagine anybody else playing Mobius.
No, it'd be wrong.
No. We then move on to Mobius and B-15 in front of the Judges Council, which includes a sleeping judge, because every time you have a council, you always have that one person who's just there sleeping.
Yeah, I swear to Christ, he was a variant of the shop owner from the start, from early on in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. He really looked like, or the dude, he's also the dude that got melted by, in Thor 3. He was the guy that got hit with the melt.
The cousin of the Grand Inquisitor?
Yeah, that dude. He it looked like him, but without the makeup that he had on in those two movies.
Yeah, because we know that character, that particular character, not the actor, but that particular character was in Guardians 3.
Yes. So he still exists, but I thought maybe this is a variant version of him.
Could be. It could very well be. They
Yeah.
could have just reused an actor they liked, because screw it, we can.
Yeah.
We also meet Commander Dox, General Dox, who doesn't want to stop doing what she's doing. She's clearly one of Renslayer's friends. She's clearly somebody who's taken the Kool-Aid and drank all of the Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have this weird moment between her and X5. I hated this. I don't know about you.
I thought it was stupid. Again, from everything we've learned in season 1, it doesn't seem like anybody here is related to each other. So are you romantically involved? Because that did not look like a romance kind of hug there. It looked like it came off to me very mother-child. You know what I mean? Like a mother.
They're very close.
A mother, but that's what it came off of. But it's like none of that makes sense to.
Yep.
To this.
It just felt weird.
Yeah.
That's okay. Sometimes it's good weird. We are expecting to see Hunter X5 is expected to show up in multiple episodes in this show. He's also apparently maybe
Alex. That was great.
Ali, maybe. Very maybe.
That was
I don't think it was a bestie hug, but maybe.
I love the implication that was a bestie hug. I like that.
During the middle of this meeting where B-15 is trying to explain to the judge that we need to stop pruning the timeline, that we're not doing anything helpful, that we're just killing people, we can't do this anymore, we go ahead and Loki appears again. He time slips into this room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually,
because he had time slipped back out.
Yeah.
And then he was just going looking for things, like looking for the war room, because Jean told him it was the war, that they were going to the war room. So he runs, or Casey. I keep calling him Eugene by his real name, but Casey tells him they're going to the war room, and so he leaves, but then he pops, so he shifts, right? And so he still goes to the war room, but it's fucking empty and creepy as fuck.
It's an old war room from days gone by, and he listens on the thing and he hears this. I'm going to play this little clip. There's another clip later on that I didn't get because it would have been too long, but we'll explain to you what you're hearing because it's only a piece of something else.
You are quite a marvel. I will be proud to lead with you. You made a difference in this war. Thank you for being on my team.
For those that don't know the voice, that is Jonathan Majors as a version of Kang. What version, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it's one of the versions that leads the TVA, so it's expected it's either Kang himself or it's He Who Remains. We later hear that clip replayed again. Loki rewinds it and plays it through. He's talking to Renslayer. Directly to Renslayer. Which is setting up what we'll see in future episodes, because Renslayer went off to find free will, as we were told at the end of episode 6 of last season. Do you think, now this is something that was posed on one of the shows that I listened to, Do you think this audio file is the file that she was given by Miss Minutes when she said he wants you to have this? He thinks it'll be more useful.
I think so. Or again, this is going to be a significant piece in what it is. And okay, so is he in the future? Is he in the past right now? Like, that's where I'm confused.
That was the past, from what we understand.
Okay.
Because up until this point, he hadn't gone to the future.
Yeah.
And we only think he's gone to the future because of one thing, and we'll talk about it later on.
Yeah. Okay.
But he then eventually time slips into the room with Mobius, and Mobius is like, Loki! And they have their thing, and he ends up trying to explain to people that this isn't what you think it is. And we finally get to see the full scene from the people that was seen at the D23 conference at Comic-Con last year. Got to see pieces of this scene. We now see it in its entirety, where Loki goes ahead and prunes a wall.
Yeah, that was dope as fuck.
He jams the pruning stick into the wall, and it reveals the wall that he saw in the past, which has the 5 faces of Kang on it.
Or was he in the future to see the wall he had already revealed?
But he couldn't. The room he was in had to be the present, because otherwise the wall wouldn't be behind it now.
Yeah.
Because they would have not yet built the room with the 5 faces of Kang.
Oh yeah, makes
so
sense.
To prune it to get to that, you would have most likely have had to gone back in the past.
Yeah, well, he's pruning it in the present, though.
He's pruning it in the present, and he's revealing something that was hidden underneath.
Yeah. Sure. No, but what I'm saying, where he saw it, was he in the future?
I don't think. Maybe it could be in the future, but it would have already been there, so I think it's been there from before. Again, this is the great thing about time travel when you don't explain a whole lot, and they didn't take time to explain it, that we get to have these questions of past, present, future.
Because it would make, because to me, it makes sense if he saw that when he was in the future, and then when he pops back into present, he goes, "I'm going to show everybody," and it shows him to reveal, and he's the reason that existed in the future. That's it. Again, this process is in my head, right? Again, don't know what anything is.
But let's just say this looks cool as hell.
Oh, dude, it was one of the really cool looking things in this, and I'm like, oh, wow, that was actually really dope.
By the way, can we also talk about how fantastic the videography of this, the filming of this show worked, where they went handheld a lot, as opposed to filming this in a volume. Yeah. They went handheld, not so much shaky cam.
No, but it wasn't shaky. But it was that like.
It moved.
And it was really cool. Like when they're in that running scene that we talked about, the way it was moving and everything, it felt panicked, felt crazy because he's running with like panic, people right?
Chasing him, yeah.
Yeah.
Throughout this entire episode, as the episode continues to go, there's these great visual effects that they do. Nothing feels like short, tiny cut-up scenes all put together. There's a lot of long takes. Mm-hmm. It seems like everything was one big long take that they were doing.
Yeah.
And they were using multiple camera angles and moving the camera around. So you got different views, but you didn't have to take different angles from different shots. You were just able to use one take and just move the camera to get that sense of movement.
Yeah. And that's really great. It's Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead who directed this episode. And I give so much credit to those two for like the design, the way they made it look. It was absolutely incredible.
And can we also give a big shout out to Michael Waldron, because I've said that Michael Waldron was a bit overrated because I'm not a Rick and Morty guy.
Yeah,
I didn't like what Michael Waldron did on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because that was his script that worked with Sam Raimi on that movie. I wasn't a huge fan of that. I thought Loki season 1 was really good. And so far, his writing style has hit a home run in this episode.
Yeah, and again, like he has other people writing the actual episodes, but he is it's Eric Martin wrote this one, but again, he is still the showrunner. He's crafting the story that these people are writing and presenting.
Yeah, and he's overseeing it. He's helping with it, and he's a writer at heart because for Rick and Morty, he wasn't a director or anything like that. He was a writer. So I think that that's an important thing to, especially with the writer's strike ending, giving credit to these amazing writers when they do a great job. Mm-hmm. We talked about how in Secret Invasion, letting actors act. Mm-hmm. This episode was another episode of letting actors act.
Very much so.
After this scene in the war room, Mobius goes ahead and says, "We need to fix you, and I know the perfect place to take you." And they go and meet, like we said before, our favorite character, OB. Oh, look at you, cute little man. Oh, look at you.
I absolutely love this guy. Yeah, like you said,
leave his picture up for a little bit here because he's great.
Yeah, Ke-Huy Quan, a lot of people know him from the Temple of Doom as Short Round. He was in the Goonies as Data. Recently has come back to acting in the last little while. Had that incredible performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Again, like this, he's so charming. He steals the scene without like making other people look inferior. You know what I mean? Like his charm steals the scene for him and just the way he acts, but he doesn't overpower anyone else he's in there with.
So in this scene, Mobius brings Loki in there, and they have this really fun exchange where he's like, "Mobius!" And Mobius has no clue how to address this. He has no clue who OB is, but he's playing like we all do. He's just playing along. How many times have you met somebody like, "Oh, yeah, this is you. You're so great. You."
I've done that a million times in my life.
And Mobius puts his foot in his mouth, and Loki helps, shove that foot in a little deeper every now and then. He's like, "Yeah, Mobius, what other guys?" When he's like, "No, I've been down here alone for 400 years. Could you imagine being in a room for 400 years, doing nothing but working and being as delightful as Obi was in this episode?
I don't think I'd be that delightful afterwards.
But we get into this scene, and then Loki time slips in front of him. And he goes, "Oh, time slipping." And Mobius is like, yeah, can you fix that? And he's like, "Well, no, you can't time slip in the TVA. But you just saw it happen." "Yeah, I can't reconcile that." Such a great line. Again, using just the right words. I can't reconcile that. Not I can't understand it. Not I don't know how to fix it. I can't reconcile the fact that something's happening that should never be able to happen in a place that's outside of time, but is all of a sudden happening.
But again, they broke the rules of time.
Yep.
Creating these, like, by breaking it. Hello, Mr. Dad. Chris
Papa Parrish is joining us. Hello, Chris. Thank you very much. And don't forget to check out Chris Parrish tomorrow with his special co-host, Tom Colohue, as they go ahead and... I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Sunday morning.
Sunday.
Busting out. When him and Tom will be busting out all over the place. It'll be fantastic. Ashley said, I can't switch the working for reading, but I'd be a happy camper.
Hey, 400 years, you'd read a lot. Yeah, you'd read a lot of books. That's for certain sure.
Ashley also says, I really love the way he... Yes, fantastic. So great. Love him to death. And then we see Loki in the past. And we know it's the past because he's not yet met Mobius. Obi hasn't. And when he starts doing all of this, he's having this conversation with him that he knows he just had. So the fact that he doesn't recall this conversation means we know that this conversation is happening in the past.
Yeah.
So fantastic. Good job. Absolutely great. And then Ke-Huy Quan does the most fantastic acting job that I've seen an actor do. I thought the best that I've seen a generic actor in a show do was the switch in WandaVision. When, remember the guy who's under Wanda's spell and Vision takes him out? And he starts having that panic monologue?
Oh, dude, the guy in the car, right?
Not the guy in the car. He was the guy in the office.
Oh, because no, it was somebody else in the car. But again,
Agatha. That was
yeah, it was
Agatha.
Agatha in the car. But when he started pulling that dude, yeah,
He
those,
does this great thing where he's all of a sudden panicked and freaking and worrying about his dad and worrying about what's going on. And then Vision puts him back in. Then he's like telling weird 80s jokes again because that's the period of time they're in. That was the best switch that I'd seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
until now.
Obi does such a great job here as they go from Obi talking to Loki in the past and Obi talking to Mobius in the future, where the conversation he's having with Loki impacts the conversation with Mobius because he's like, no, I've never heard of. Oh wait, yeah, I've got that down here. Or oh yeah, I remember that from before. Here, this is the stuff we need. It was such an interesting way to get around not having the way to fix things.
Yeah. Again, it was just a weirdly charming situation.
Yep. Just fantastic. This scene continues where they get the MacGuffin. I don't remember what they called it. It's some big item that they need to use to go ahead and get Loki out of the time stream. Because
the big old time gun.
Yes, the big time gun. The big time harpoon as it's
the temporal aura extractor.
Okay, the temporal aura extractor. Like I said, the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
The thing we need to use to do the thing to do the thing. And so they bring them to the room where we see the fabric of time being woven together. And this is a beautiful scene. Look, if you can see just right of Tom Hiddleston here, Loki, you can see all the different timelines. And as you follow that line going closer and closer to OB, you can see them all being woven into that single timeline, the sacred timeline.
Yep.
This is such a cool representation of how the sacred timeline was created and showing us, now that we know that we've broken the sacred timeline, we can go back and show you how it was made. We can go back and show you what's gone wrong now because it's broken, as it's firing off projectiles of time at the wall, which was absolutely fantastic. Adored that. What were your thoughts of this scene? And this was a heavy portion of the episode. I think it was a good 10, 15 minutes of this episode took place in this one room.
I really enjoyed it. Like, it was really cool. Then you can see what Owen Wilson's of doing, like him having to put that spacesuit or whatever the hell it was on. Yeah, Kwan, absolutely amazing. But and then he goes out, and it gave me, so when Owen Wilson out on that room on the thing, it was giving me Fantastic Four vibes. You too? Okay, you're muted, buddy.
Sorry, yes, absolutely. And by the way, just to know, no matter where you are, no matter what universe you're in, whether it's the real world, whether it's MCU, no matter what timeline you're in, duct tape fixes everything. It's a proven fact, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe has made it known. Duct tape fixes everything.
Oh man, my whole life I grew up watching Red Green. I don't know if you got that in the States, but great Canadian show about this dude, and his answer for fixing pretty much everything was duct tape.
Would you have gone out there as Mobius did, being told that if you stay out there too long, that the suit's going to degrade and your skin is going to be sucked away and you're going to die?
Depends on how much you care about the friend. Like, if it was you or Mel, sure, I'll go out there. I don't know, Astrid, I gotta make a decision, you know?
Oh, shots fired!
I love you, Astrid.
Astrid pose, just to make it better. Let's see if she's still paying attention or not. She's probably reading while we talk about this.
Yeah, but again, it was just to see the willingness he was able to like do for his friend. Like, it's those little things that just make the character that much more charming. The way he step out and literally risk his life to bring Loki back. So they had just some let's fix this time slipping issue.
Yep. So Mobius goes ahead and does the space-time walk, which is fantastic. And by the way, the visuals in this scene are top-notch. If you haven't seen it, I'm not even going to try to describe it. You just need to go watch this, because the way the time, you can literally see time bouncing off of him and the effect it's having on his suit is incredible visual. By the way, can we thank the visual effects team who, because of the strike, probably got a little bit more time to work on this show? Let me tell you.
It's very possible because, again, like, they did such a wonderful job that we will admit, like, Secret Invasion, I think, was fine for its graphics, but like, we've seen some less than stellar graphics in the past. Like, She-Hulk, I didn't think was bad, but it could have been better. Miss Marvel had a few issues here and there. Moon Knight had a few issues. I'm not coming down on those graphics as hard as other people do, because I still think the graphics were pretty decent in all those shows. I couldn't have done better for that, for sure. Like, everybody that complains about it, go out and do better before you complain about the graphics not being up to your quality. If you can't make them that nice, shut the fuck up.
I mean, obviously I can complain because look at the wonderful background I made. I spent at least the whole 10 minutes on this background, and it shows.
Yeah, but again, it's. I think they've done a great job. Yes, we had to have standard with the Marvel movies on what we expected in graphics, but not these TV shows aren't getting the same amount of funding spent as what these movies are getting.
They're still getting a substantial funding.
Oh yes, but again, they're not giving to the level, and there's a lot more work for these people to do. So some stuff is going to be cut corners. I'm not as snobby on the graphics as others.
Just to go ahead and throw a number out there, the Loki season 2 budget, what do you think it is? I've looked up the number.
I don't know, like
6 episodes.
Like 55 million. I don't know.
Double it.
Wow, 110 million? Jesus. Wow.
141 million dollars to produce 10 episodes.
So how much?
So Marvel is spending money on these shows.
So how much to actually like pay Hiddleston and Owen Wilson? That's the real question.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Ke-Huy Quan has got to be the most expensive actor on the show, right?
I'm gonna say it's Hiddleston, because remember, this guy. Again, Ke-Huy Quan is a star, but Hiddleston is the star. He is the face of this franchise, and he is long past his original deals. So
God, yeah.
Being paid.
I think at this point he's doing it for the fun of loving the character than he is anything else,
and just getting he's getting paid a shit ton of money to do it.
But I mean, you can afford to do that when you're getting paid the amount that he's probably getting paid to do one role.
Yeah.
Like, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd be an extra in this for free, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Just to be in the MCU.
Hey, I was an extra in a random Aboriginal People's Television Network TV show called Delmer and Marta in a wrestling episode. I did that for free just to be part of it.
Yeah. So, also, attention to detail. We've talked about it with the visual effects. I want to also talk about it with the costume department here. Fantastic job by the costume department to make sure that Loki in this entire episode is wearing the same type of shirt with the same stains and the same cut on his arm as he was in the finale in episode 6. I love the attention to detail that we don't have any Starbucks cups incidents going on in a show like this.
Thank Christ. Oh, thank Christ.
So,
but again, I do just want them to be wandering through the TVA one day and there's just this fucking Starbucks set up. I want
that. But that'd be fine, because in the TVA it'll make sense. But I love the attention to detail that we're not getting continuity errors like that all the time.
Oh, for sure.
As Mobius goes to get ready to make his spacewalk, Loki gets time slipped again, and now he's in the same room, but in the future. And we know it's the future because the word skin has been written in a fingerprint on the side of the computer screen with a question mark.
And was that done by who was that done by?
I'm assuming either Mobius or OB would have done it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's but
But
again,
it couldn't have been the past. It had to be the future.
yeah, because it's weird. This is where the jumps. You're like, what the fuck's going on?
But I think we'll get answers to all these questions going on as we go.
Mhm.
But I love the bounce back and forth. And now Loki's on his mission again. He needs to find himself a pruning stick because he knows he's on a timeline and he's got that machine in his hand. And when that thing turns green, he's got to prune himself or else he's not going to be able to suck back in with Mobius's temporal harpoon, shall we call it. The temporal aura extractor.
The temporal aura extractor. But again, and then everything with what he's about to do just gets into a total mindfuck of a way. Because then he starts hearing like a phone ringing and he starts wandering the halls. And it's just
the phone ringing. Did you get the same thought I did when it happened when I was watching it? Matrix.
I don't care for that movie, so no, I didn't really think about it.
To me, it screamed Matrix. That it's like this. It's the rush to find the thing you need, and the place you need to be is where the phone's ringing, and he walks to the phone, and then all of a sudden, Sylvie seems to be coming out of the elevator, which isn't opening. She's opening it, and as soon as he sees a little bit of her, all of a sudden Loki gets pruned. In an empty TVA where we've seen nobody else, Loki got pruned.
I just realized what the just happened.
What happened? Explain.
So this is going to be explained in like episode 5 or 6. Loki and Sylvie are going to get sent back to this point in time, in some way, because they realize they have to prune him because they know they didn't, and that it's going to be revealed that it's Loki pruning Loki.
That would be fun. I'd be in for that. We had President Loki talking to Loki in last season.
But that's just a feeling. Or it's Sylvie and somebody else Sylvie and somebody coming to here to make sure he gets pruned so that his time slipping stops.
Yep. Which it does. They pull it. He gets pulled out of the timeline. He gets pulled out of the strands of the timeline, comes flying at Mobius, and just before the doors close, because Obi closed the blast doors, they come barreling in just in the nick of time. And then the episode ends. And that's it. Well, no, I'm sorry.
He goes,
one more scene.
Well, no, he goes, we have to find Sylvie. And then also show that that they were sending people through a door.
Through the time door. That's what I realized. That was the end of the episode. Right after he says we need to find Sylvie, all of a sudden B-15, we get back to a plot line that we dropped earlier with B-15 and the hunter that she awakened. The one that she showed where Renslayer was a variant, principal Renslayer, as we know it. We go ahead and we see that scene where all of a sudden they've raided the armory and they have all kinds of pruning sticks. And they got pruning bombs, and they got all kinds of stuff. And they look, and they're like, all this for Sylvie? And the guy's like, I don't buy it. Something else is going on. Mm-hmm. And we see General Dox, and she just looks at B-15 and then just goes through the time door. There were hundreds of those hunters going through that door.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. You're going to see. I think that's going to be a big portion of episode 2. Will be what the f is going on, and the B-15 trying to follow them to see what the f they're doing.
We do have Barry Monkey jumping in. Thank you, Barry, for joining us. It's the TARDIS phone. It's a Doctor Who Loki crossover. Dude, I'd be down for David Tennant. He's already working with Disney as Hu Yang in the Ahsoka series.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But again, like, it's just... I have so many questions going into this season.
And by the way, for those who want a Loki Doctor Who crossover, remember, this is now a possible thing because Disney Plus is the new streaming home of Doctor Who going forward.
With the new specials coming out in November?
And it'll be in November, and it will be on Disney Plus in the United States and Canada.
I'm so excited.
Ali approves of the Doctor Who Loki crossover. But that was the end of the episode. or so we thought. But wait, there's a post-credit scene.
It's Marvel. There's always a post-credit scene.
We see Sylvie, and I'm going to take away the spoilers thing here for a moment, in Brockton, Oklahoma in 1982. And Sylvie ends up just wandering around this little area, and she finds the happiest place on earth for any 80s child, McDonald's.
Because she's loving it.
That is, Sylvie is loving it is what I've titled this, which is why Andre is saying that.
I didn't even know that. I can't see it. I just said it because McDonald's is the best cash line they've ever had.
Barry Monkey says, thankfully on free TV in the UK for Doctor Who. Yes, that's fine. So this image of Sylvie is after she tries to order at McDonald's, and I love her order. Not possum, not rat, not squirrel, and nothing with a face. Which just tells you what terrible life she must have lived. And that's how she's ordering food.
So does she consider a cow having a face? That's my question. Because
I think she doesn't want to eat anything where she can see its face. I don't think it matters so much about it having had a face.
Because the way I interpret is that she's vegan. And then I'm like, McDonald's in the 80s, they have nothing vegan on their menu.
No, they're not gonna have anything for you. They don't have salads yet.
Yeah.
I guess you could eat the pie. Probably eat the pie.
Ice cream, French fries.
No, that's dairy.
Yeah, but it didn't kill them to get it. They killed them to get their beef. They didn't kill them to get the milk or get the milk to make the cream.
Remember, vegan. If she's vegan, she wouldn't even be using any animal byproducts.
Okay, vegetarian, whatever.
There we go. I have a lovely friend, Allie, who works for a company that is vegan vegetarian, and there's a massive difference between the two.
I know, it is true.
And I have to hear it every day. But no, Sylvie is in a McDonald's in the 1980s. We have the yellow and orange color scheme, which brings me back to my childhood. Those yellow seats. Oh my God, that's my 80 kids root coming through. Because I remember that was the epitome of comfort when I was
the design of this restaurant with the dome on the front.
Yeah.
There is a Dairy Queen in Edmonton, where I live near, that still has that in one of their Dairy Queens. And God, I love it. Just the old school feel of it. Yeah. No, I love it. I love it so much. I love it.
Fine. And Sylvie sees all the people in love and acting loving and things like that. And she's like, I want it all. And this is the moment where Sylvie's going to decide to live her life. Mm-hmm. And that's where the episode leaves off. And I got to say, that was a hell of an episode.
I loved it. I loved it.
We've got an episode coming up next week. Our next week's review is probably going to be a pre-recorded, or it'll be live on Saturday evening, I believe is what I've been told. Andre has a tough work schedule every now and then.
Yeah, so my schedule over the next couple of weeks. I think I'm working 10 to 7 my time on the Saturday, so I'd be available to do another one around this time on that night.
So we might be doing next Saturday night around this same time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Central. Barry, whatever the hell time that is for you, I think it's 3 a.m.
Probably.
But Andre, where can the good people find you?
You can find me in multiple places. First off, you can find me over on YouTube at youtube.com/@Andre and Melba Wrestling Talk, where me and Melba are constantly breaking down Stardom, New Japan, and the local independent wrestling scene. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram. You can find me on you can find me on Twitter and a few others at that Canada guy.
Hive and Mastodon.
Hive and Mastodon, then Instagram Threads and Blue Sky at that Canada dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you got coming up for the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Stardom?
Stardom, we just dropped a new episode this morning. We'll be dropping another one on Sunday. We're going to be talking the 5-Star Grand Prix finals on there, and we'll talk about who won that, and then we'll be dropping another, and then on probably Tuesday, Wednesday area somewhere. Hopefully, we're going to be dropping a review of the October 9th Destruction and Ryogoku card from New Japan Pro Wrestling.
If the episode has dropped, if it hasn't, you can go ahead and let me know. Your thoughts on Mariah May leaving Stardom.
Yeah, I know she's gone already. Very, very, very sad because I very much enjoyed her there. I really do hope she ends up in AEW and not WWE.
Barry Monkey saying it is now 4 a.m. So yes, the episode would likely start right around 3 a.m. your time. If you join us, great. If not, go ahead and catch us on the YouTube. But if you want to find me, you can go ahead and find me on Twitter, on X at edfries12584. You can find me on Twitch with all my gaming content and some of the things that I do here on our local establishment right there at edfries2002. For our local establishment, if you want to go ahead and find us, you can go ahead and find our local establishment on Twitter at Ole Podcast, on Instagram at Ole Podcast, right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/our local establishment, on TikTok at our local establishment. We don't do much on Kick, but we're there. You can find us. All of our shows will be uploaded to YouTube at some point and another at youtube.com/our local establishment. If you want to reach out for any concerns, questions, or to appear on some of the shows, go ahead and email us at olepodcasts@gmail.com, and somebody will get back to you in a timely manner with whatever your heart desires. And remember to go ahead and use Rogue Energy. Go to rogueenergy.com to go ahead and get 10% off your order when you use the promo code OLEPODS. It is the only way for me to get through these busy weeks. And Andre, it's the only way he can stay up for those long New Japan shows at 4 and 6 a.m. in the morning when these things drop, if he watches them live. So make sure you go ahead and do that as well. But for myself, for my friend Andre C., this has been Marvel Talk. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll see you. Goodbye.